big price, isn't he? Although there's been a little bit of support for him. He won a heavy ground race a few months back now, but he hasn't been firing on his recent starts.
Sassy being backed at prices, 18s from 40s.
Yeah, I think she wants a little bit further than this. She won on soft ground at Brighton. She has been backed, hasn't she? 14s to 18s, yeah. But I mean, she hasn't lost her form. She's been running all right, but I think a mile and a half on this surface will probably just be quick enough for her. It was soft ground when she won at Brighton. Carp Kid hasn't been seen for a couple of months since he won.
Yeah.
The second and third from that race did win next time out, so there's nothing wrong with the form of that win, but it was a couple of months ago now, so we couldn't be sure that he would come back in the same form again.
Right, we are past post time. Had that little bit of a delay with Kamikaze, who should be down at the start by now. It's getting a bit misty down there. Following Tallow on course has gone the clear favourite now. That is just reflected on the exchanges, but it's bigger than 5 to 1.
I still think that 12 to 1 point in time is a big price.
Do you?
Yeah. Last time out she ran at Haydock. The winner came from stall 4. The runner-up came from stall 1. Fourth was from stall 2. The fifth was from stall 3. She came out at 12. She ended up getting a little bit too far back, but she finished off her race really well to be beaten less than a length. Champs-Élysées go well on this surface, don't they? And
they do.
I would hope that from 13, because there's not on paper, there's not loads of pace in this field. Maybe David Probert could just bounce her out and go on with her. But look, it's a competitive race, isn't it? But she is a big price for a filly that's got solid form and has been consistent.
Exactly. Right. Loading up. Sassy continues to be backed. 40s into 14s.
Yeah.
She ran pretty well. She ran a reasonable time last time when she was 5th at Nottingham. It was over 1 mile and 3/4, and as Martin said, probably wants a bit further than this 1.5 miles. Maybe the plan is to jump her out and try and dominate on her. Sometimes those horses that go to the front get backed just because they're going to lead. We've got about 3 or 4 more to go, and then we'll be ready for this 7:15. Yep, flag band's ready to go. Let's go and join John in the commentary box.
Thank you very much indeed, Angus. Kamikaze then. Stall 2 will complete this lineup. Fireworks going off all around the track here. Set, they're off and racing. Jumping away then, 1.5 miles the trip. Tyrian Dance got a super start. Blame Me Forever, half asleep and needing plenty of riding along in the early stages as well. And also Following Tello right at the back of the field too, just nudging along. But it's Carp Kid who's now taken over with the well-backed Sassy up front as well. Sassy this side of Carp Kid. Il Habella Fact is in behind them with Bombero and Kulin just in behind them. Taking a keen hold is Azari as they go into the first bend with Clovelly Bay further back. Having jumped very well, Tyrian Dance is still travelling smoothly but is happy to sit more mid-division than further forward than that. Then the yellow cap of Point in Time. She's next. She's ahead of both Kamikaze and Tidal Watch, who follow her through. And then those slow starters, Blame Me Forever, in company with Following Tello. Following Tello now the back marker and about 12 lengths off the pace as they head down the far side of the track. It is the cheek-pieced head of Bombero, who now shows out in front of Carp Kid, who led briefly at the start, but now just sitting in second place alongside Sassy. She's still well there to the outside. Il Habella Fact comes next, red cap, green colours, next to Kulin in the orange and black, who's in 5th place. They're followed by Azari as they continue to race down that far side of the track. Clovelly Bay is in the light green silks. Then Tyrian Dancer, who is next to Point in Time. Those two are still together. Kamikaze's up on the outside of Tidal Watch. And no improvement yet from either Follow Intello, who sits at the back end of the field together with Blame Me Forever. Rounding the turn then, they've got a 1/2 mile left to run. Heading to the home straight with Bombero, a length in front from Sassy and Carp Kid, Il Habella Fact and Kulin. Clovelly Bay is in 6th place. And then comes Azari. And Point in Time is easing a little bit closer now. Dark Jacket, yellow stars and cap to watch out for with Point in Time. She's just held up behind horses at the moment, but going very well. Meanwhile, Kamikaze on the outside and Tidal Watch on the far side begins to pick up as well. And now they race on to the closing stages. Illabella Fact in front. Now Point in Time's in the clear and going off chasing ahead of Sassy and Tidal Watch. Clovelly Bay comes next, then Coolin, and now Point in Time has come through in front. Point in Time going well throughout the race. Point in Time stretches on. Tidal Watch presses late, but it wasn't enough. Third place, Illabella Fact. Sassy ran well, and then from the back of the field, but never seen with a chance really, was Follow Intello.
Well, Point in Time has won, got the better of Tidal Watch. One for David Probert and Mark Usher, put up by Martin here in the studio, and well done, Martin. She's gone in at 10-1, the final SP here, but bigger prices were available. Well done.
I thought 2.5 furlongs out she was going to be a little bit unlucky, but he's done well on her to get her tucked into mid-division, and early on it didn't quite work out in terms of, I think David probably wanted to sit a little bit handier on her, but she's just ended up having to tuck into mid-division. But she is just going the right way, this filly. You know, she's very likeable, isn't she? And I suspect it's quite strong form as well. Illabella Fact is a horse that's going the right way. He'd won his last start. Tidal Watch obviously was fancied in the market. He's got wins in him off his mark. But I think the way that she's travelled through the race and quickened, you know, once she's met some trouble to get to the front, I think there's probably more wins in her, because she's not going to be. You see here as well, just. You know, she couldn't get in, exactly. It's just Bombero wants to be in the same position as what David Probert wants her to be in. But he does the sensible thing, not rushing up, and then he's just taking back and waiting for that opportunity to slide in behind horses, so you're not tucked too wide. And,
he's trying to edge in there, and he eventually does sort of get in.
Here I was thinking, to be honest, well, that's it.
Did you?
Well, just because she just, you know, he was struggling to get a position, really, wasn't he? But
he's not too wide. If he'd gone forward and been 4 or 5 wide. Look, there's one really big eye catch here for me. This is Follow Intello, who he sat last there in those orange colours under Holly Doyle. But just watch the progress this horse makes in the home straight, and comes home really strongly. Well worth keeping an eye on.
Yeah, he's still very green, isn't he? I think. So if you look at the way that he's travelling, he's not sort of really going out the back there.
He was vigorously ridden out of the stalls to try and pick the bridle up as well.
Yeah, that would be, but I think that probably at this stage is best put down to an experience. And
absolutely.
He's going to stay a bit further, I would think.
Yeah.
He's a horse that he kind of probably lacks some gears, but he does obviously keep on past horses, doesn't he, up the straight, and it's quite eye-catching the way that he does. So, yeah. It was also helped, I think, by the winner was helped by the fact that Bombero ended up taking it up down the back and just pressing on a little bit, because it was in danger of becoming a complete mess of a race, and he just ensured that the pace just quickened up a little bit, even though it's still, to the eye at least, they don't look to be going strong.
You know where Tidal Watch has come from, Martin. I mean, he's only got a couple behind him at that stage.
Yeah.
So they probably have just quickened it up at halfway, allowing horses to finish off a bit.
Yeah, but they were stacking them up to that point, weren't they? But you'll see in a minute she's travelling well, and start to think, is she going to get any luck from this point, really? But it's credit to her that the fact that she's met some trouble actually hasn't really stopped her from going forward. She's still able to tank and go, and then she quickens.
Come between horses, yeah.
And if you look at there, she's sort of almost upsides Tidal Watch, but she just has a better turn of foot than him between furlong out and the half furlong point.
Here's for Follow Intello. You'll see when the shot changes in a minute. Just creeping into the shot there in the orange colours. Finishing into 6th. That's quite a nice little run.
It is a nice run, yeah. No, it is. I suspect, I mean, we're only looking at the pictures, but he looks a big horse, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And
he's a big raw horse.
Yeah. And whether you'd want to be with him necessarily next time, I don't know. But if you imagine him on a turf track next spring or something, on a big galloping track, he could be a nice 4-year-old to look forward to, maybe over slightly further than this as well.
Yeah, going on quite nicely to death.
Yeah, there'll be winners come out of that race, though, I would think.
I think so. Yeah, it's quite a nice contest, isn't it? Just there, the trouble came for the winner. He was going to go outside, and he couldn't. He just got squeezed a bit, and gone back inside, but he's full of horse, isn't he? Full of run on this filly.
Yeah, she's really well bred actually. The dam was, I think, got to about time form 101, 102, something like that. She's got a good pedigree, and you know, Mark Usher wouldn't get his hands on too many horses with really, really useful pedigrees, but he's proving that when he does get one, he can do the job with them.
Yeah, jockey on the third horse was a little bit. He's half stopped riding in the last 50 yards, but anyway, he's been caught for second. Maybe Tidal Watch was going to go on by him anyway. John Drennan and Fran Berry's horse. It was second.